2 Samuel chapter 8, verse 1. After this, David defeated and subdued the Philistines by conquering Gath, their largest town. Verse 2. David also conquered the land of Moab. He made the people lie down on the ground in a row, and he measured them off in groups with a length of rope. He measured off 2 groups to be executed, for every one group to be spared. The Moabites who were spared became David's subjects and paid him tribute money. Verse 3. David also destroyed the forces of Hadadezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah, when Hadadezer marched out to strengthen his control along the Euphrates River. Verse 4. David captured 1,000 chariots, 7,000 charioteers, and 20,000 foot soldiers. He crippled all the chariot horses, except enough for 100 chariots. Verse 5. When Arameans from Damascus arrived to help King Hadadezer, David killed 22,000 of them. Verse 6. Then he placed several army garrisons in Damascus, the Aramean capital, and the Arameans became David's subjects and paid him tribute money. So the Lord made David victorious wherever he went. Verse 7. David brought the gold shields of Hadadezer's officers to Jerusalem. Verse 8. Along with a large amount of bronze from Hadadezer's town of Tibah and Berothai. Verse 9. When King Tou of Hamath heard that David had destroyed the entire army of Hadadezer, verse 10, he sent his son Joram to congratulate King David for his successful campaign. Hadadezer and Tou had been enemies and were often at war. Joram presented David with many gifts of silver, gold, and bronze. Verse 11. King David dedicated all these gifts to the Lord, as he did with the silver and gold from the other nations he had defeated. Verse 12. From Edom, Moab, Ammon, Philistia, and Amalek, and from Hadadezer son of Rehob, king of Zobah. Verse 13. So David became even more famous when he returned from destroying 18,000 Edomites in the Valley of Salt. Verse 14. He placed army garrisons throughout Edom, and all the Edomites became David's subjects. In fact, the Lord made David victorious whenever he went. Verse 15. So David reigned over all Israel and did what was just and right for all his people. Verse 16. Joab son of Zeruiah was commander of the army. Jehoshaphat son of Ahilud was the royal historian. Verse 17. Zadok son of Ahitub and Ahimelech son of Abiathar were the priests. Seraiah was the court secretary. Verse 18. Benaiah son of Jehoiada was captain of the king's bodyguard, and David's sons served as priestly leaders. Amen.